crossing a geological boundary, and we humans are the change makers. Since the dawn of humans, the world has shifted. Our atmosphere is layered into the soil in the form of radioactivity, in the atmosphere is greenhouse gases, and in the ocean is plastic and rising temperatures. Humans themselves have evolved biologically, socially, and mentally. From ancient civilization to empires to massive cities, we have seen a shift in human capability to expand, collaborate, and control, all of which skyrocketed in the Great Acceleration after World War II through massive globalization and rapid technological advancements. This modern revolution is the complex, current geological epoch that serves as the magnum opus of the human species. This is the Anthropocene. In 1700, the world's population was 600 million people. In 1968, the annual growth rate of the population hit 2.1%, and now the world holds 7.9 million people. Overpopulation is a big struggle of the Anthropocene, and to help us understand that, here is Hank Green, best-selling author and one half of the popular history YouTube channel Crash Course. So Hank, why is overpopulation such a big issue? Can't we just build more houses?
The problem with population growth is that our unsustainable consumption of non-renewable energy won't allow us to support the large amounts of people expected to join the population in the coming years. Developing countries like India and places in sub-Saharan Africa already suffer from overpopulation, and their rate of population growth is the highest in the world. As these countries try to both develop their infrastructure and feed their growing population, they are forced to turn to cheaper, non-renewable energy sources such as fossil fuels, making the problem worse.
Oh, I get it. Production and mode of production cannot sustain a population growing as rapidly as it does. But the world has changed and continues to change with the growing population, right? That's why we've been able to sustain it for a while, like how cities seem to develop more prosperity as their populations grew. Why is that when population should lower quality of life for individual people? To better understand the brighter side of population growth, let's hear from the original big historian, award-winning David Christian. If not just economic struggle, what comes from a booming population that can prove to be beneficial?
Although having a large population creates big problems in the future, it also gives us a big advantage: collective learning. This is a term used to quantify what a population's ability to innovate is. It also increases as the population grows and its ability to communicate gets faster. By this measurement, our level of collective learning is exponentially higher than it's ever been before because of our massive population and that we can communicate nearly instantaneously through the internet. This means that our ability to solve problems is higher than ever.
Probably the most defining trait of the Anthropocene is environmental degradation. Coal and oil mining and burning harm the Earth's crust and release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These fossil fuels, or non-renewable energy sources, are slowly shifting in popularity. Here's some guy, expert in renewable energy, to explain.
We already see evidence of our higher level of collective learning through the solutions we already have to the problems we face in the Anthropocene. We've discovered ways to produce energy renewably, such as solar, wind, hydroelectric, and nuclear generators, which, unlike fossil fuels, do not alter our ecosystem in substantial ways. We've also developed electric cars, a new, less environmentally impactful mode of transportation. One could argue that we have already developed the solutions we need to climate change. We just haven't fully implemented them yet.
This shift into renewable energy shows the ever-adapting nature of the Anthropocene and how we are constantly growing as a species. However, countries such as China still struggle with coal use due to their large population, and many countries that are developing have to build their infrastructure with non-renewable energy. Even then, the biggest issue is the current unwillingness to act. Here is another guy, epidemiologist, to expand on how our bystanding nature leads to disaster.
Unless you've been living underneath a rock, you know that we are currently living in a pandemic. The pandemic is where it is not only because of how interconnected we are, but also because of how we handled it. Humans have the tendency of ignoring looming problems. We didn't take large measures in preventing COVID-19 until the spread of COVID devastated the US. This is almost how all major problems are handled because they are more in the long-term side. To put it simply, we choose to procrastinate. Although we do have a large population, therefore a larger ability to solve these problems, we choose not to.
With our constant state of to act or not to act, we humans could be headed towards massive advances in prosperity or be driven to extinction at any moment. In the Anthropocene, we have not seen a scientific shift in the state of the world, but also a psychological and social shift in the human species. We've drifted from the nuclear family, and instead, our family became the system. To elaborate, here's John Green, best-selling author and the other half of Crash Course.
As we moved into a modern world, we tilted towards a more individual and nation-based life. With the increasing popularity of capitalism and nationalism, people in America began to leave their families to work for themselves and their nation. Traditional families were weakened as people sought more economic prosperity. This new independent lifestyle lowered many aspects of life such as family support and connectedness, but strengthened the state and market. It also pushed nation-states to compete, resulting in wars like Russia versus Ukraine, where a larger power thinks it should overtake a smaller power.
Nationalism and capitalism also culminate into colonization, which almost always turns into a genocide spanning even centuries. The focus on production that runs through colonization, tied with the modern desire for accessibility, can also weaken human connection. Let's hear more from John Green, who looks somehow older, as he highlights the good and the bad of globalization.
Dear Flowers, you capture the best and the worst of the globalized economy. You're so pretty, even the fake ones are pretty, but the real ones are constantly dying. They've got to be harvested and shipped and cut very efficiently, and it's a global phenomenon. Like there are flowers in my corner market from Africa. These are from China, but because they are plastic, they could just be shipped in a shipping container. More people can afford to apologize by giving their romantic partners professionally cut and arranged roses than in any time in human history, but in that we have lost something, which is that the whole idea of flowers is that you had to go out into the field and cut them and arrange them yourself to apologize. It's not supposed to be, I'm sorry I forgot your birthday, here's $8 worth of work that was done in Kenya. It's supposed to be, I'm sorry I forgot your birthday, so I went into the fracking forest and got you some fracking flowers. Anyway, Flowers, best wishes. John Green.
Nationalism, like overpopulation, is not a black and white issue. In recent years, people have been able to rise against the negative aspects and collaborate within their nation-states. Even the nation-states themselves have created a better place for humans by collaborating. To explain, welcome Ola Rosling, statistician.
We humans possess the great ability to think of a better world when we go through hard times, and even greater ability to collaborate to make things happen. A great example is the United Nations, formed in the crisis of World War II. Several nations banded together, and we imagined a world without war. And now we do indeed live in a world without continuous and debilitating battle among continents.
Due to the UN and other diplomatic alliances, the quality of life has also risen in lower-income countries. Poverty is on the decline as total wealth and health is on the incline, as you can see in this graph. As we grow, our ability to help each other also grows, and as with Russia versus Ukraine being pushed back by NATO backing Ukraine, our incentive to help grows as well. Humans struggle seeing the bad they've done to the universe, but the Anthropocene is not only defined by its negative aspects. The environmental degradation that comes from expanding populations is being combated by our growing use of renewable energy sources. Many countries have already sworn off coal use, and if we get extremely polluted countries like China to join, then we can minimize our geological impact on the atmosphere. Yes, our interconnectivity in current state systems perpetuated a pandemic, but it is interconnectivity and a global collaboration that has helped us support lower-income countries through the pandemic, and we have neutralized it in many countries. Nationalism can be the source of supremacist ideals, but can also push countries to innovate and grow beyond their own family pods, ultimately looking out for the better of more people. Humans have the means to keep society going at a better standard. All that's left now is to take action.